The language row has come to the fore once again in the state of Tamil Nadu. It started with the controversy around DMK's alleged directive around the live telecast of the Ram temple ceremony in temples in Tamil Nadu. On Sunday, the BJP lashed out at the DMK and took the matter to the Supreme Court. The Tamil Nadu government denied issuing any such order in the top court and said that directives were only oral, keeping the social harmony in mind, something which the top court did not appreciate and told the state government that using that as a ground for denial is unacceptable. The matter ended in the court and thereafter the political battle started over another issue. Earlier, the Bharatiya Janata Party had targeted the DMK, accusing it of being anti-Sanatan, quoting Udhayanidhi Stalin's earlier remarks. Now, interestingly, the BJP's post from its X account was in Hindi, though the DMK did not respond to that post on Sunday. Today, after the battle in the top court, Udhayanidhi Stalin put out a post which showed him wearing a shirt that had the quote, Hindi Teriyatu Poda, which translates into don't know Hindi. While the politics over the temple ceremony might be over, the language war is only set to escalate in the lead up to the elections. Joining me on the broadcast is Mr. Madhavan Narayanan. He's a senior journalist. Let's put across this question to him. Mr. Narayanan, good evening. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on Mirror Now. What do you make of this? Of course, the temple ceremony politics and controversy was sorted out by the Supreme Court, but thereafter you see Udhayanidhi Stalin stoking another one on the same day that the Pran Pratishtha ceremony has been carried out, and the language war of course continues. It's not a new war, but it is being continued by Udhayanidhi Stalin.
Well, I'm not surprised, Shreya, because I think I think there is so much of celebration and noise and light over the Ram Mandir ceremony, a consecration ceremony in Ayodhya, that we forget that this country has a very long history of various kinds of ideological movements. And the Congress party led the Indian National Congress movement for independence and has ruled for better part of the 70 years after independence. But there is also the Dravida movement, which was started by Periyar E.V.R. Nayakar, Ramaswamy Nayakar, and then carried over by Anna Durai and then N.G. Ramachandran, Karunanidhi and all. So there is this, just as you have a Sangh Parivar, there is something called the Dravida Parivar. That is something ignored because sitting in Delhi, it's very difficult to imagine what people think and do and prefer south of the Vindhyas. And the important thing to remember is that the Dravida movement is opposed to the Sangh Parivar. The Dravida Parivar is opposed to the Sangh Parivar because the Sangh Parivar in its early days had this slogan called Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan. Even today, in fact, I've personally spoken to L.K. Advani on this one. He used the word, we have accepted bilingualism. We did not say, no, so this two-language formula is what the Dravida movement, especially the DMK, likes, which means use English as the link language. It regards Hindi as one of the several national languages, including Tamil. And Tamil has a classical language, has a history that stretches back thousands of years. It's very important to remember Tamil belongs to a separate family of languages. It did not originate from Sanskrit as it is commonly and erroneously believed in the north of India. And to that extent, there is a politics around it. One way of looking at it is that the BJP and its supporters do not like the English language education system championed by Lord Macaulay during British rule. So the Dravida movement views Hindi the same way the Hindi-speaking Sangh Parivar views English. They see it as a language that impinges on their own cultural heritage and also gives an unfair advantage to those who speak Hindi as a native language in a united country based on the constitutional values. So Jawaharlal Nehru, in fact, promised to the Dravida movement that Hindi will not be imposed on them. And that is seen as a very important milestone in the integration of Tamil Nadu into the country because if you recall, there was a separatist kind of a movement, or let's say, in fact, even the word separatist is misleading because when the Union of India was formed with the British leaving, lots of parts of India were not properly integrated, and that's why Sardar Patel played the role that he did. But there was a lot of
Okay.
hard work put in by the Congress
Can I
party
also
from
then
Sardar.
ask you, Mr. Narayanan, you and
Yeah,
I have had this conversation earlier as well, but then in the light of this war, this concern that comes along with the Dravidian movement, how do you see, the Prime Minister's push in the South there? Do you think, does that find any resonance? Or do you think the Hindi language controversy still has a lot of weight if you compare it with the Prime Minister himself going to southern states and campaigning and reaching out to people?
very good question, Shreya. Let me separate the fact. I mentioned Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan. The Prime Minister's push has been substantially in favor of the Hindu side and the Sanatani side rather than the Hindi side. In fact, he sat through a recitation of the Ramayana in Tamil. He likes to quote in however in a gauche manner from the Tirukural. And therefore, from a linguistic point of view, it's important to understand that Tamil has a very strong Hindu tradition in Tamil. For instance, you had the Shaivite poetry written in Tamil. So there is no conflict between Sanatan Dharma and Tamil in some ways. So Mr. Modi's push has largely been on the side of religion and religion-oriented culture, and not so much in terms of language. But there have been subtle attempts to, make Hindi more popular in the South, and the DMK is extra alert over this. Let me put it this way: the DMK likes to view Hindi the way the RSS views religious conversion. They think it's some kind of a linguistic conversion being done surreptitiously. They think it is unfair and it will erode the cultural identity of Tamil Nadu. And that is also, there is a politics around it. It's not a very big deal anymore because there was a time when government jobs were very important for people. Right now, Tamil Nadu is an economically very advanced state with dozens of engineering colleges. It's on the world map now. It's not just on the India map. So therefore, a Tamilian is more likely to spend time learning French or German to further career prospects than Hindi. But Hindi is loved by a lot of people because it helps you get around. So there's a lot of casual learning of Hindi from Hindi cinema. But what the DMK does is to avoid this as a matter of state policy. So nothing stops people from learning Hindi in Tamil Nadu, but the Tamil Nadu government, as a matter of official policy, likes to use English as a link language. And it suits everybody now because even IT runs on English. The software revolution of India is powered by English. And even Hindi-speaking states like Uttar Pradesh, where Mulayam Singh Yadav used to oppose English, right now they are promising English schools even more.
Okay, Mr. Narayanan, we'll leave it there. But, just as you were speaking, I received pictures from my sister who stays in Bangalore of how they and their South Indian friends and colleagues have lit up diyas today to mark the Pran Pratishta. So really, we'll have to see how it really pans out and how much resonance all of this has, whether the Hindi war wins or the BJP's Mission South wins. But thank you very much. We'll leave it there, Mr. Madhavan Narayanan. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your perspective. Thank you. Well, with that, we're slipping into a short break on this broadcast. News and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned to Mirror Now.